Comparison between iPhone 6 Plus and iPhone 6, 5S and 5C. We are going to compare the features and specs of the four iPhones you can buy today. For the next year, Apple will be selling four different iPhones. Maybe you're thinking about upgrading and wondering which one is best for you. Let Gizmo lend a hand as we compare the features and specs of the four iPhones you can buy today. Size. The iPhone 6 Plus, Apple's first flagship, towers over both its sibling and its predecessors. It's 15% taller than the iPhone 6, and 27% taller than the 5S and 5C. If enormous phablets aren't your thing, then the iPhone 6 might provide the middle ground you're looking for. It's 11% taller than last year's 5S and 5C. The iPhone 6 is also the thinnest iPhone to date. It's just 3% thinner than the 6 Plus, but 9% thinner than the already svelte iPhone 5S. Weight. The 5S is by far the lightest in this bunch, but the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus are still relatively light for their respective sizes. Build. Most modern Apple devices have aluminum unibody designs, and 3 of these fit that bill. The iPhone 6 and 6 Plus are especially striking, with their front panels sloping off into rounded edges. The iPhone 5C was designed to be a slightly cheaper alternative to the iPhone 5S, marrying the guts of the iPhone 5 to a colorful plastic casing. The 5C doesn't have the same top-of-the-line feel of its aluminum cousins, but it is eye-catching and smooth to touch. If nothing else, it's the spunkiest iPhone to date. Colors. 3 of the 4 iPhones are offered in the same silver, gold and space gray options, though the tones are a little different on the new models. The space gray versions have black fronts, while the silver and gold variants have white fronts. The 5C lets you choose from 5 pastel-colored back sides. They all have black fronts. Display size. Do you need to own both a phone and a tablet? Well, with the iPhone 6 Plus huge 5.5-inch screen, you might not. If you ever wished you could replace your iPhone and iPad with one Apple device, this is it. The iPhone 6's 4.7-inch display, though, gives you a nice screen size without leaving such a sizable impression in your hand or pocket. It's easier to hold, but still gives you 38% more screen than the 5S and 5C do. Display resolution. On paper, the resolutions of the two iPhone 6 models blend in with a crowd of recent Android flagships. But in experience, they do anything but. Both have terrific contrast, as well as color range and accuracy. They may not have Quad HD resolution, but, based on our hands-on time with them, they don't need to. And though the 6 Plus packs the pixels in denser than the 6 does, my eyes didn't know this much of a difference in crispness. The bottom line. They both look terrific. The 5S and 5C have the same pixel density as the iPhone 6, but I wouldn't put their screens in the same class. Display contrast. This is a big reason for the boost in screen quality with the 6 and 6 Plus, with the new model giving you much better contrast. Note that these are what Apple lists as the typical contrasts for each display. Fingerprint sensor. All but the 5C include Apple's excellent Touch ID fingerprint sensor, which is integrated into the home button. Until recently, Touch ID only let you unlock your phone and authorize iTunes purchases. But with iOS 8, third-party apps can now use Touch ID. Password Manager apps like 1Password, dash lane and LastPass make for an especially great fit. Pay. Starting in October, Apple Pay, sometimes branded as Pay, will let you pay at participating retailers including McDonald's, Subway, Toys R Us and, of course, the Apple Store by simply holding your iPhone near an Apple Pay terminal. Apple says that the retailer never sees your credit card number. The unique ID is encrypted and stored on the phone's secured element, and the numbers are never sent to Apple's servers. When Apple Pay launches, only the two new iPhones will be directly compatible. That's because they're the only two with NFC chips inside, a necessary component for the tap and pay service. The iPhone 5S and 5C along with the retired iPhone 5 will be indirectly compatible with Apple Pay, but you'll need a paired Apple Watch to make that happen. Watch compatibility. Speaking of the Apple Watch, all four of the currently available iPhones will play nicely with the upcoming smartwatch. Camera megapixels. Here's another example of numbers on paper not reflecting experience. That's often the case with megapixels. The two iPhone 6 models have terrific cameras, shooting quickly and offering good quality even in lower lit conditions. Camera aperture. One reason for that is that the iPhone 6 Plus, 6 and 5S have slightly wider apertures. Dual LED flash. Branded True Tone by Apple, the 5S, 6 and 6 Plus have dual LED flashes. They help to give flash shots a more even and colorful, less whitewashed and blasted appearance. OIS. Apart from size, this is one of the only differences between the 6 and 6 Plus. The Plus helps to cut down on the effects of shaky hands by throwing in some optical image stabilization OIS. HD video recording. The two iPhone 6 model can record 1080p video at 60 frames per second FPS, though they're set to 30 FPS by default. Slow motion video. 3 of the 4 iPhones also let you record slow motion video. The two iPhone 6 models, however, record at a higher frame rate than the 5S does. Battery. Battery capacity only tells you so much, especially when you're looking at different processors and pixel counts. But when we reviewed these four phones, the 6 and 6 Plus outlasted their older counterparts in our streaming test. Cable. This marks the first time that Apple has completely done away with iPhones that use the old 30-pin connector for data transfers and charging. All four of these use Apple's newer, smaller and reversible Lightning cable. LTE. With the retirement of the iPhone 4S, this is also the first time that all of the available iPhones support speedy LTE data. Storage. These are the storage options that are available today. The 5S and 5C, though, were originally available in higher storage tiers that Apple has since retired. Processor. You can't draw any conclusions about the performance of Apple's chips based on cores and clock speed. On paper, they all look rather mid-ranged apart from their desktop-like 64-bit architecture. But in terms of experience, the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus AA chip combines with iOS 8 to deliver one of the smoothest experiences I've seen on any mobile device. RAM. Ditto for RAM, though this does reveal itself a bit when you return to background gaps and browser tabs. They need to reload a bit more often than on some of their Android rivals. Motion coprocessor. The 6 Plus, 6 and 5S each include the motion coprocessor, either the M8 or M7, which lets third-party apps passively track your movement in the background. When you're using this feature, battery life can't take a noticeable hit, but it's minor compared to the drop in uptimes you'd see when tracking all-day steps on other phones. One-handed mode. Apple threw in the one-handed feature called reachability that makes it easier to use the newer iPhones with one hand. By lightly tapping their Touch ID sensors 2 times, the top of the screen slides down to the bottom. You can then tap anything that's out of reach, and double tap the sensor again to slide things back up. SIM card size. With the iPhone 4S now living in the Shady Pines retirement home for iPhones, Apple also did away with the last iPhone to use a micro SIM. All 4 current models use the tiny nano SIM standard. Power button location. Apple moved the power flash sleep button to the side upper right of the 2 iPhone 6 models. On every previous iPhone including the 5S and 5C, the button had been on the right side of the top edge. Software. None of the current model got left behind with Apple's latest software. All for run iOS 8, which brings goodies like third-party keyboards, notification center widgets, faster Siri and app extensions. Release date. None of these iPhones are more than a year old, though the iPhone 5C is essentially the 2-year-old iPhone 5 dressed in plastic, pastel-colored clothing. Starting price. Full retail. The 6 Plus has the most expensive starting price we've seen from any iPhone. Considering how much bigger its screen is, that shouldn't be too surprising. Starting price on contract. If you're buying your iPhone subsidized with a 2-year contract, then their starting prices line up in the same descending order. Just remember that the upfront price is small potatoes compared to what you'll fork over during the next 2 years.